Okay, in this video, we're going to talk about what Brew is and how to install it. What is Brew? I'm going to leave a link to my page in the video description. So Brew is a package manager for macOS. We use it to install apps that we don't find in the App Store. Some of them are open source, but you can also find popular apps like Spotify, Visual Studio Code, Google Chrome, or any other app that you need. So how is it to install packages without Brew? If you have to install a lot of apps, let's say 30, you need to go to each site, download the file, and go through the installation process, and that takes a lot of time. But instead of doing that, you can install all the packages using Brew. Using a simple command or a single command, basically you can install multiple apps. Just going to show you an example of how you can install multiple apps. This is a GitHub repo. I have a Brew file here. So if I run a single command, I can install all these apps at once. We're going to go over that in the next video. So before I continue, I'm going to create an alias because I use the ls-l command a lot. So instead of typing that, I just want to type ll. Let me add that. I'm going to open my terminal. Make this bigger. I added the alias. If I type ll, see a long listing format. So the first thing we need to do is install Brew. In the documentation, you can see the requirements. You can have an Intel or Apple Silicon machine, macOS Big Sur or higher, and you also need the command line tools for xcode. So that's what we're going to do first, install the command line tools for xcode. Takes a few minutes. So here's the command. Let me run that. You're going to see this pop up. Just open it, click install. Then you have to click on agree. And it's going to start the installation process. It's going to say that it's take a long time, but it doesn't take that long. It says 40 hours, but it takes like 5-10 minutes, depending on your internet speed. So I'm going to skip this part and see when it's done. Okay, so the software is installed. We hit done here. Let's go back to the page. Now that the command line tools are installed, we are going to install Brew. I'm just leaving this as a reference in case you want to uninstall xcode, the xcode command line tools. You can run this command. You don't need to run it right now. I'm just leaving it here as a reference. Okay, so to install Brew, we need to find the installation command. You can find it in the main page, which is here. So here's the command. I left it here in my site. Just gonna run that command and ask you for your password. And here you just have to type enter to continue. It'll take a few minutes. So I'll see you when it's done. Okay, so the Brew installation is complete. Notice the next step section tells you to run these two commands in your terminal to add homebrew to your path. Gives you the commands, which are these two. So this is basically going to add this command, this part, to this file, zprofile file in your home directory. I have that in my site as well. I'm gonna run the commands. Let's look at the file to see what we changed. So here's what we added. This is just the comment on the top, and this is the command to add Brew to our path. So that's done. Now to make sure that everything's set up correctly, I'm gonna run this command, brew doctor. And you should see this, your system is ready to brew. So far, we only have installed the command line tools and the package manager itself, homebrew. We have not installed any apps. So I'm just gonna run these commands so you can see if I have these apps installed. Git is installed, but it's the Apple version 2.39. Let me see if Visual Studio Code is installed. It's not installed. NeoFetch. None of these are installed. This is installed, but it's the Apple version. So I'm going to install a few apps using Homebrew for testing. How do you search for apps? You go to the main page. Well, you go to this page, and here you can search for, let's say, Spotify. If you want to install Spotify, then I give you the command. Let's say you want to install Visual Studio Code, and I give you the command here. You just type this and paste it in your terminal. If you want to install GIMP, for example, here's the command. Google Chrome, and here's the command. I left a few commands here. These are the apps that I'm going to install. Starting with Git. Okay, it's installed. Now I'm going to install Visual Studio Code. Okay, Visual Studio Code is installed. I'm going to install NeoFetch. Okay, that's installed as well. So I'm going to run the commands again. I'm going to close my terminal and open it again. I'm going to make this bigger so you can see. Now we're going to verify if Git was installed, and it was. We have a newer version. We don't have the Apple version anymore. Let's see if Visual Studio Code was installed. It was. We see the version here. And let's see if NeoFetch was installed, and it was. Going to open Visual Studio Code. You can open it from here, or you can open it from here. It doesn't matter. So it's installed. When you install a package, you will find at the bottom the caveat section, which are things that you need to fix for the package to work properly. We're gonna go over caveats in the next video so you see what they are, but we're gonna fix all of them in a future video as well, in a video related to my dot files. So now if you want to install multiple apps in Brew, you can continue to the next video, which is found here.